What's happening, guys? Today I'm going to give you 5 tips to lose fat without losing muscle. All right, let's just jump right into it. Let's go right ahead and start with tip number 1, and that is do not change your training because you're now trying to lose weight. It doesn't matter if you're trying to build or you're trying to lose, your training remains the same. Don't switch from low reps to high reps. Don't switch from 2-minute rest periods to 45-second rest periods. Keep your training the same. You want to continue to keep the volume up and not change things to make sure you're retaining the muscle that you built. All right, if you change things up completely, if you start doing a lot less volume and everything starts to get completely changed around, this is not a good position that you want to be in. You want to keep things the same so you can maintain it, right? Retaining muscle, you do that the exact same way you build muscle. The only difference is you're now in a calorie deficit instead of a calorie surplus. So don't change your training dramatically just because you're starting a fat loss phase. Keep it the same. Tip number 2, make sure you make a pretty aggressive drop in calories and increase in cardio to start your cut, and then make smaller changes as things kind of stall out. So one of the mistakes a lot of people make is they make too small changes in the beginning. And I think part of this comes from even things that I say, things like make sure you keep your calories as high as possible and your cardio as low as possible while seeing results so you can make changes down the road. I wholeheartedly agree with that, and I think it's a good thing to do, but in the beginning stages you need to be more aggressive to make sure you elicit a response, or all you basically end up doing is reverse diet in reverse. So if you think about what we're doing in a reverse diet, we're trying to minimize changes in body fat while making changes to metabolism. Well, in a cut, you're still going to make changes to metabolism. There's no way to avoid this. Your body's going to adapt to whatever you do, but you certainly don't want minimal changes in body fat in a cut, right? Like, you want to make sure that you're getting a good amount of body fat off. So if you make really small changes, you're just going to basically kind of minimize the fat loss while decreasing your metabolism. Not what you want to do. So you want to make an aggressive change off the bat and then make smaller changes down the road. So in the beginning, I usually recommend about a 400 to 600 calorie decrease and maybe add around 45 minutes to an hour of cardio, just depending on a lot of different factors, and this could be different for everybody, but that's kind of a general rule that I like to go with. So we make sure we elicit that response, and then when things get stuck down the road, because it's going to happen, your body will adapt and your metabolism will slow down. You can't avoid this. Now you can make smaller changes and get it going again. Now you can take away like 100 calories here or there, or 150 calories, or maybe add in a half-hour cardio here or there, or some combination of that to get things going again. But in the beginning, you want to make sure you make a big change, but also make sure you leave enough to be able to make adjustments down the road. You don't want to make too big of a change, or otherwise your body's just going to adapt to that and you got nowhere to go. So keep it around 400 to 600 calories in the beginning. Tip number 3, kind of piggybacking off of number 2, make sure you keep your protein high. So when you make that calorie drop, do not take it from protein. Whether it comes from carbs or fat is a little bit less important. It's a little bit more individually based. I do prefer to keep carbs a little bit higher just because it helps with performance. If you perform better, you're going to be able to see better results. Plus, it has a little bit higher thermic effect of food than fat does. But research has pretty much shown that as long as you equate calories and protein, whether it comes from fat or carbs, doesn't really make that big of a difference. So it's kind of a preference here. And if you find that you feel better or do better with one or the other, go ahead and do that. I just don't recommend dropping your fat below about 20%. Usually keep it around 20 to 30%, and then with your 1 gram per pound of body mass for protein, the rest of the calories from there come from carbs. If you have a lot of weight to lose and that amount of protein seems unreasonable, then go with lean body mass instead of total body weight and use that for 1 gram per pound of lean body mass. Tip number 4, pick up your walking. Walking is so underutilized. It's insane. It is such a great tool for fat loss. It's low intensity, it's low impact, it's easy to recover from. Your heart rate is in a position where you're basically utilizing fat for fuel, so it's coming right from fat stores, which is fantastic, obviously. And like I said, it's just easy to recover from, and it doesn't take a lot. So do a lot of walking, pick that up, and just go for extra walks. If you haven't been walking, go for like a half-hour walk every day. If you've been doing a lot of walking, maybe go for an hour-long walk every single day and just get that walking in. It's a little bit time-consuming, yes, but it is a very powerful tool, and it doesn't require a lot of effort, which is a nice thing, because as calories get lower and as you lose more weight and do this for a longer time, energy is going to be at a premium. It's not going to be something that's going to be in a high spot, right? You're not going to have a ton of energy, so just using walking can be very beneficial for that. Tip number 5, and possibly the most important one, make sure that your weight loss is not any faster than about 1% of your body weight per week on average. Yes, you'll have some that might be a little bit higher or lower, but on average, you don't want to go above 1%, maybe 1.5% at the most, especially if you have a lot of weight to lose. It makes it a little bit more reasonable. But if you start going much over 1% of your body weight on a weekly average, your chances of losing more muscle instead of just fat goes up dramatically. So putting everything else into practice and everything into play here, all that stuff, when you combine it together, if it's causing you to lose weight too fast, then you want to make some changes. Add some calories back in, do a little bit less cardio, and make sure you're keeping it around 1%. Right? If you're losing too slow, then you need to make some adjustments and pick things up a little bit. But that's all going to kind of make everything come together. But just make sure you don't lose too fast. It's a kind of a trap. Right? I understand that it sounds good to lose weight faster, but not only are you risking losing more muscle by doing it faster, but you're also risking worse results long term, because while you might lose more in the beginning stages, again, your metabolism is going to adapt down, and the only way to lose faster is to be more aggressive and eat less food and do more cardio and activity in general. And if you get to a spot where you're just barely eating and you're doing a ton of cardio and you get stuck, you can't really make changes realistically, so you have nowhere to go. Whereas if you play the long game and you play big picture and you take a more reasonable approach, you will lose less muscle and you'll be able to see better progress long term because you'll be able to make more adjustments to keep things going. All right, that's it, but I do have one more bonus tip. I guess it should have been 6 tips, but we're gonna stick with 5, but this is a very important bonus tip here. Make sure you reverse diet when you're done. All right, do not diet down hard and then just go back to your old eating habits, or just bump up to your previous maintenance calories, which they're gonna change now, because not only does dieting change your metabolism, but you've been dieting for a long time and the hormones are out of whack and everything's just not in a good position. So make sure you take your time coming out. You don't wanna try to maintain your weight on those low calories. Whatever you get to at the end, it's just not going to be maintainable. You will not be able to stay at those low calories and high cardio forever to maintain your results. But if you raise your calories slowly and bring back your cardio slowly as well, now you can get your calories up, your cardio down, still roughly maintain, and be in a much better position long term, and make sure you keep the weight off. Right? This is one of the big things that most people miss in dieting, is reverse dieting out and making sure that they keep the results rather than just blowing up and getting all the weight back. So that's it. That's all I have. Any questions, please let me know. If you liked the video, please leave it a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will talk to you next time.